Hi guys, it's Kate. Welcome back to my channel. It is Friday, it is towards the end of September, and I am coming from you kind of raw. The news in my country has been affecting me, like it has been affecting many people all over the world, I'm sure. And today there's a little bit of a hopeful note, I guess, but it's been rough, and then we're still dealing with the first few weeks in preschool, which is also hard on me. So I'm coming at you with no makeup, with no agenda or anything. Just want to talk about some books that I've been reading and just be in this space where it's a safe place. So let's just get on with it. I did finish some books this week, although I feel like I didn't read a ton, which is fine. So I did finally finish Men Explain Things to Me by Rebecca Solnit. And I think this was a case of just not being a very good time to read this book, in that everything that was going on in the news, it was just too much to be reading about it as well. So I think I would have enjoyed it more at a different point in time politically. I did enjoy Solnit's writing a lot. She is witty and pithy, and she really cuts to the point in a way that makes you see things. I think this would be a good book for someone who's new to feminism. I also enjoyed this because Solnit is a trained historian, which is my academic background, and so there were a few essays in which I could see her theoretical underpinnings that she did not make very explicit in all cases, but I enjoyed kind of seeing that play out in a non-academic setting. So I recommend this. I will be putting this on my husband's feminism to read pile, but it was actually a pretty difficult read for me. So there's that. I also read this book, finished and started in just a few days. This is the Book of Unknown Americans by Cristina Henriquez. And this is a book, a YA book, I think, about primarily one family of immigrants from Mexico to the United States, but also it tells a story of the other immigrants who live kind of in their same apartment complex. And I actually really enjoyed this book. So the family that is the book centers around is Alma, the mother, Arturo, the husband and father, and then Maribel, who is the daughter who has suffered an accident and needs to go to basically a school that specializes in special education in the United States, and that's why they've come here. And it was a lot about what it is like to be an immigrant, what it is like to live in the United States as an immigrant, a little bit about the process of immigration, but more about just the process of integration or lack thereof. And I thought it painted a nice picture. I mean, not nice as in a pretty picture, but nice as in well-rounded. Some of the families were doing very well, and some of the families were really struggling. And so I thought it was good, I thought it was relevant, and I especially kind of hit home to me. Again, I've been working with a local refugee woman, and just some of the things that I've been talking about with her, you know, very simple things like, where do I go to buy clothes for my son who, you know, he's a baby and I need to buy him clothes, but I don't want to go to the mall and buy designer clothes. Where do I go? What kind of face lotion? She's asked me what kind of, you know, lotion do I use in my face? Just little things that you wouldn't think about. But if you're brand new to a place, it would be very difficult to figure out how to navigate on your own. So in that way, I really liked this book and definitely recommend it. It was a super quick read, and I would recommend it. I wouldn't say it was like the best, you know, most hard-hitting literary fiction, but it, like I said, it painted a good picture and was valuable, added to the conversation. The other book that I literally started and finished in one night last night was Alaskan Holiday by Debbie Macomber. So I won an arc of this on Instagram and received it. And last night, after everything that happened with the Judiciary Committee hearing, I just didn't want to read anything that was like had any sort of I don't want to say depth, but kind of that's it. I wanted just a romance book that was nice and cozy, so that's what I picked up. This is a holiday romance that's set some in Alaska, but it's also set in Seattle, which is fun because that's close to where I live. So the thing about Debbie Macomber is the beginnings of her books for me are really hard to get through. They feel very stilted and tropey. I don't even know if tropey is the right word, but it's very like, I am this rugged Alaskan individualistic man. And, you know, it feels very like ticking off all the boxes. But then as you get into the story, it becomes more and more compelling. So I enjoy her writing for those reasons, but like I said, those first few chapters are always really, really difficult for me to get through, and this was no exception. It was a very cute story. This was a little bit different than most romances in that the characters had already met and begun to care for each other before the story starts. So the story actually starts with a marriage proposal and kind of goes from there. And so it felt a little bit strange because it wasn't the characters falling in love. They'd already done that. It was more the characters trying to figure out how to be in love, which is just different. So lots of good food in this story. If you're into food and kind of like locally based food, I would recommend it. If you like holiday stories, I recommend it. But if you're looking for something, I mean, it's romance. It's exactly what it looks like. It's exactly what it advertises, right? So that's what that was, and I did enjoy it, and I read it in less than 2 hours last night because that is what I needed before I could go to sleep to try to turn my brain off. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. I still dreamt about Supreme Courts and judges all night long, but that's okay. So I have another stack over here of other books that I've been reading in the past couple weeks that I've only read just a couple chapters of, so I just wanted to like briefly go through those, and then that's it. So I've this is Annie Lamott's Small Victories, essays about, it says spotting improbable moments of grace. And so this is kind of like just inspirational and nice things in the midst of hard things sometime. And it's nice. I started this one night when I couldn't sleep and have read some more of it. And plus it's just a really beautiful cover. And the kind of motif is continued on the end papers, and it's a pretty book. It's also written in this really light blue. I don't know if you can tell. It's a light blue font. It's not black, which just kind of adds to this like calming ambiance in the book, which is fine. Which is great, actually, not just fine. It's great. On the other end of the spectrum, I started reading There, and I started this after I finished The Red River Murder, I believe it was called, last week, and just wanted to continue in the theme of Native American experiences, and read the first two, I think, stories in here, and am enjoying this one as well. But again, like, it's just a little bit, it's too much for me in my brain space. And my brain, like the emotions that my brain can handle right now, this is too much. So kind of put it aside. Same thing with this one. This is a book that my husband brought me from work. It's called The Fox Girl and the White Gazelle by Victoria Williamson. And nope, I don't think this is an arc. I think this is already out. This is about two girls in Scotland, I think. One is taking care of her mother, basically, and these are young girls, like 12, 13 years old. One is basically taking care of her mother, who is not able to care for her in an attempt to not be taken away from her mother. And the other girl is a Syrian refugee. And that's as far as I've gotten in the book. It seems like they're probably going to become friends, but I don't know. The thing about this book is that it is beautiful. It has these like drawings on the pages, which I've never, this is just a random page and it's got drawings. It's just very, very pretty. So I'm enjoying this book again, but also too many feelings. So maybe in a few days. The other fiction book that I picked up does not have a, let's do it this way. I took the dust jacket off. This is The Shape of Ruins by Juan Gabriel Vasquez, who I have talked about on this channel before as one of my favorite authors. This book came out on Tuesday, and it's great. It's actually, it super confused me because he is the narrator as himself in the book. So he references his other books that he's written, and it was really confusing to me at first because I did not realize that's what was happening. But the writing is still beautiful, and I am excited. I am like, how many pages am I? 30 pages in, not very far. I got to read at the dentist's office. The dentist let me sit in the chair a little while I waited for him. and read, so I didn't get very far, but again, like, it just requires so much concentration, and I'm not going to. And then finally, I picked up The Conscious Parent again, and this is a little bit easier for me to deal with. One of the things that everything that's happening makes me want to, it just makes me want to be a better person, right? Which I think is the best that I can do. And that's what this book is about. This book is primarily about living in those moments that you have interactionally with your child, and kind of uncovering and being really conscious of how you're reacting to your child, and using those moments to kind of teach yourself and make sure that you're not reacting to something that perhaps happened in your past, you know, either particularly when you were a child, and then reacting to that with your child, which clearly isn't helpful, because that's not what's happening actually in the moment. So, like, for example, those moments when you say, oh, I sound just like my mom, taking a step back and saying, okay, is that because this is the right way to act in the situation, or is that because this is the way I'm conditioned to act in this situation, and this is the way that you know, I would have reacted to my mother in this situation, or something like that. So it's a really interesting in that way. I'm not sure that I 100% buy into this, but it is useful for just recentering interactions with my kids. So that's what I have been reading about this one. I think those are all the books that I have, like I said, dipped in and out of the last couple weeks. I don't know. I might not read any of these this weekend or the following week. I have no idea. We'll see what I'm in the mood for. If you've read any of these and you have anything that you want to chat about, I would love to do so. If you just want to leave a comment down below, or if you're interested in reading any of them, that would be fun to talk about too. Or if you just need to chat about anything that's going on in the world. That's kind of, I feel like, perhaps where we are right now. So I hope that everyone has had a great week, and that you're able to really care for yourself in the coming week and do what you need to do for yourself. That's what I'm trying to do, take care of myself and my family, and make sure that we are all well. And that's what I hope for you as well. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week.